Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, I'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 1 of the anime series, Shokugeki no Soma, the second season of Food Wars, Shokugeki no Soma, and I was just mad stoked that this show was finally coming back. Probably my most anticipated of the summer season, even though there's not a whole heck of a lot I'm planning on checking out. This very much being a sort of carryover, as I call it, a show that is pre-existing, watched all through season 1, covered every single episode, and it was a riot. I just loved the highfalutin hijinks and all the dream sequences going over the top and, getting really meticulous with the recipes of all of these different dishes and all that kind of stuff. And to see them coming back, I mean, they're pretty much true to form, even though I kind of feel like by the end of this episode, there wasn't any really standout, gut-busting, hilarious moments or anything like that. For me personally, I wasn't really laughing as much as I kind of wish I would have been and everything. It was more about the intensity of, from right out of the gate, Soma is in this first round of the autumn elections. And in this first round, I was really shocked that Soma's going up against Alice of all people, because I kind of felt like she was a high-tier adversary. And by the end of the episode, spoiler warning if you hadn't already seen it, of course if you're watching this video and you haven't seen it, it kind of defies my imagination, but by the end of this episode, of course we see Soma is successful. He beats her with this whole bento themed, making dishes, the culinary arts, if you will. And, does that mean she's out for the count now? Does that mean she's out of the competition already? Just the first episode? I know this particular season's only supposed to have 13 episodes, I believe, is what I read going into it, rather than the 26, from the first season. So they got to get things done in a lot quicker amount of time. I don't know if they're skipping things, if they've edited things, shifted things around in the story, how that'll all play out in this particular second season as compared to the manga and such like that. But it really kind of shocked me that, I was kind of questioning for a little while, is Soma actually going to win the day? Is he going to defeat her? Or is he going to have to sort of walk off with his, tail between his legs? And I couldn't quite recall if this was the all bets are off sequence where, okay, you lose, you're out. I'm kind of questioning that by the end. Is Alice out for good, all told now, because she lost to him? This is a series that really highly focuses on recipes and flavors. And we're talking about tuna stock and soup stock and all this stuff, flavor enhancements, everything from sushi in the case of Alice's bento, sort of, I think they compare it to a jewelry box in this episode because it's a bunch of different things. And me being someone who is very much not a fan of sushi, my sister loves it. She probably would have, been salivating over everything they show her making in her bento appraisal. Of course, all the judges love it, but it's really somebody with a down-home sort of personality, a gift, somebody who has worked a, mom-and-pop restaurant in a local neighborhood like Soma. Once again, those skills coming to the fore, really thinking about his patrons, thinking about this old woman as he relates the story that, her back had been hurt, she couldn't come to the restaurant anymore, and as a kid, he made something special for her, and really taking into account who your customer is, who the person, the recipient of this meal that you're going to make as a chef, putting your heart and soul into it. That's something that they have touched upon in the course of, the first season of this series a few times. And I just really love that. It's kind of true the underdog thing where all of these high and mighty, like Alice Nakiri, all of these people, Rio, and all these people that, of course, Soma's going to be going up against all the time, they all come from this really chip-on-your-shoulder-esque, wealthy, well-to-do sort of attitudes, thinking very much highly of themselves and their skills, and nobody can beat me, and Soma, he is confident, but he's not to the point of having a chip on his shoulder. He's not to the point of, basically throwing it in other people's faces, being demeaning to other people because he thinks he's better than them. He knows he's good, but he doesn't think high of himself, high and mighty of himself, haughty-taughty, like all of these competitors he'll be facing. And I love that. I love that it's very much sort of the down-to-earth approach, but it's highly skilled, down-to-earth approach in this particular culinary battle, where he utilizes these sort of bento lunch boxes, and it's multi-tiered. It has soup in there, it's got meat in there, you know, fish and everything like that, and then the rice and all this kind of stuff, the gelatinous, whatever they were called, the little sort of, you know, ball-shaped flavor-enhancing things, and then, of course, the stock in the very bottom to enhance even more the flavor of the rice. Step by step, tier by tier, he put all of his heart into it and really thought ahead of the game as far as making this meal every step of the way lasting, renewing, refreshing, replenishing. And we've seen things like this before. That's kind of why I say this is kind of like a status quo episode, even though we're coming back with this new season. It's kind of just refamiliarizing yourself with, okay, this is the framework of how we're dealing with things now. You might remember where we left off, but here's the new game that is afoot, and here's how we're going to be playing it. And so by the end, you know, it was great seeing Soma win the day, even though I was questioning, you know, how exactly is this going to play out? Is this all bets are off? Is this whoever is not the victor? Are they going to have to be spirited away? And of course, making that much more of a sort of momentous occasion of it, you have the old man, Nakiri, you know, being part of the judging panel. He's judging, I think it's, you know, Alice's granddaughter or something like that. In any case, seeing these characters return was a blast. I do hope it gets a little more highfalutin and hilarious, because I did kind of feel like I just wasn't laughing and finding as much funny in this particular episode. But it's reformatting. It's getting you used to the environment again, used to the characters again. And Soma is true to form. I mean, Soma is no different than where we left him off, where he has evolved to by the end of season 1. And I guess you could say the same for most of the characters. It was, you know, one of my favorite characters is, of course, Mito Okumi. Love seeing that she is fully, you know, backing Soma now. She's cheering him on with the rest of his compatriots in the crowd, overlooking this entire, you know, sort of battle, this food battle and everything like that. And that was awesome. She's cheering him on, and, you know, she's getting ticked off at Alice and her sneakiness, her devious nature, and all this stuff. And by the end of the episode, once he has won the day, and the deciding factor was the old man, we find that for the next episode, Megumi is going to be going up against Ryu, and he is like, you know, where we left him off. We didn't really know a lot about him. He's kind of like a madman or something like that. He puts on a bandana similarly to Soma, and he just goes psycho. So, I mean, if that's not something to look forward to, I really have to wonder, is Megumi going to win the day? I kind of think maybe not. I kind of think we're going to be seeing Ryu and Soma going up against each other in a later round. You know, otherwise, no real complaints for this first episode. Glad to see it's back to form, sort of status quo. Love to hear from you guys in the comments below if you enjoyed this episode, if you found it over the top hilarious, if you were laughing out loud or not. You know, anything goes in the comments below. Love it or hate it. And so, yeah, that'll be pretty much it for me in this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.